This is your 28storms.com cyclone update for Wednesday, the 7th of December. In the Indian Ocean, we're still dealing with Tropical Cyclone Alenga and newly classified Tropical Cyclone 2S located just to the east-northeast of La Reunion. As expected shortly before the classification, it looks as though that this tropical cyclone, I'm speaking of Tropical Cyclone 2S, will not be very long-lived. In fact, the U.S. Joint Typhoon Warning Center is forecasting the storm to dissipate within approximately 48 hours, well to the east of La Reunion, so we're not expecting any significant impacts there. And Tropical Cyclone Alenga is still forecast to intensify ever so slightly within the next 36 hours, but it was expected to begin intensifying a little bit quicker than this, but in fact the storm has weakened a little, and an overall weakening phase is expected to commence shortly after that, so this storm poses no threat to Western Australia whatsoever, and in fact I do believe that there's a chance that this system could fall apart altogether a lot quicker than what is even being forecast at this time. Here is an overall view of the precipitable water analysis across the Indian Ocean, and we can quite clearly make out both of our tropical cyclones, but notice all the dry air immediately to the south beginning to spread northward, and that does not bode well for both of our systems. Of course, you need a lot of warm air and moist conditions for these systems to continue to persist. Along with the dry air, we see quite a lot of wind shear on the increase, and this has been talked about for the past several days in our 28storms.com video analysis. We have a series of troughs approaching from the south and west, and here is the 50 to 60 knot vertical wind shear. It's going to first shear apart Tropical Cyclone 2S, which is located in this small region of favorable upper level winds aloft, but it's also going to quickly overtake Tropical Cyclone Alenga a little bit more toward the northeast. Again, as of right now, both of our systems are located within a pocket of mid to upper level ridging, but there are already indications that Tropical Cyclone 2S is beginning to feel the impacts of that northwest vertical wind shear out in advance of the trough. On the regional enhanced infrared satellite animation, we can see that Tropical Cyclone 2S really does not have much in the way of any equatorward outflow channel, and that is a good indication that the wind shear is having some impact. And Tropical Cyclone Alenga looks a little bit healthier, with both some indication of a poleward and equatorward outflow channel, but this is not going to last. Again, here's the water vapor, and we can see the dry air beginning to work its way northward, along with the strong vertical wind shear. The last thing I will show you in this series of satellite images is the latest microwave satellite composite of Tropical Cyclone 2S, and we can clearly see some of the strongest convection, but notice where the surface circulation appears to be partially exposed or almost fully exposed to the northwest of all of that convection, and furthermore that is just another result of the northwest vertical wind shear that is on the rise. And I do expect that this will be the same case with Tropical Cyclone Alenga as soon as within the next 48 to 60 hours. The following is the latest 12Z forecast run from the GFS model, and it quickly dissipates Tropical Cyclone 2S near La Reunion, and to some amazement it's maintaining Tropical Cyclone Alenga at least to some extent, which would provide some additional shower and storm activity, especially just to the south of Exmouth, Australia. But I believe that this run is highly suspect considering the extremely unfavorable conditions that Tropical Cyclone Alenga will soon be encountering, and once again I do not foresee any significant weather along the coast of Western Australia. Next up is the latest Canadian CMC model run, and the CMC often has the tendency to overdevelop tropical cyclones, but despite this bias, the CMC is portraying the system as weakening before it reaches the Western Australian coast. So despite that bias, the model is still showing dissipation, so that leads me to believe that the GFS is more than likely incorrect, and you can also see this CMC bias by maintaining Tropical Cyclone 1S despite the highly unfavorable environment just to the east of Madagascar. And finally, this is the 12Z ECMWF model run, and it shows both of our systems completely weakening below tropical cyclone threshold within the next 2 to 4 days, and there are no signs of any additional development in the Indian Ocean or South Pacific within that period. In addition, the active MJO phase that set off the 2 tropical cyclone formations in the southern hemisphere is beginning to weaken. The latest forecast from the GFS ensemble members showed the system moving back toward neutral territory, so we're not expecting any above average chance of tropical development at least within the next week and a half. So thank you for watching today's video. We will have another video update posted at 28storms.com/cyclone by tomorrow afternoon.